Hey there, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Empire Interviews. Today's going to be a good one. We're going to be talking to Subscribe.io. We're going to be talking to the founder, Bowjang. And man, I'm excited to hear what they're doing as far as marketing, branding, and a way of bringing Web3 and merch together. So this is going to be really exciting. Hey there, how are we doing?
Doing good, John. How's it going?
Dude, I'm glad to have you. I saw you guys at Rare Evo, and I was excited about what you guys are producing. Before we get into that, so tell me a little bit about yourself, where you come from, what you do, and then we'll go from there.
Absolutely. So, my name is Matt. Also, I go by Bowjang in a few Discords if you guys have seen me around. But I think my background is in architecture and commercial real estate. So, like, I came from that as my professional path. I was a licensed architect and licensed commercial real estate agent. And so that's where I kind of got my start in making things and being fascinated by bringing things to market and kind of doing that whole thing. But over the last 4 years, I've been focusing on e-commerce. We've had a few brands that have really exploded for different demographics of types of people. And so we've just been exploring new things and, you know, Subscribe.io has been really an interesting way for me to blend my fascination with the developing markets of crypto with also this new success of the e-commerce platforms that we've been operating. So it's really just it's been a lot of fun. We've been working on it for about a year. We launched a lot of new products at Rare Evo, and so we're just trying to keep up with this bull market and try to get people everything on time. And we've got a lot of new products coming in and a lot of new products we're about to launch. So I'm excited.
That's super awesome. So your background is then you said architecture and like real estate as well?
Real estate. Yep.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's fantastic. And then well, how did you hear about crypto? What was your first experience like with Bitcoin or hearing about Bitcoin or like getting into the space? How did you get here from the normie world, as I like to call it sometimes?
For sure. So actually one of my architecture clients, it was a solar company. We were designing a solar facility for them, and they were big proponents of Cardano. And so, every time I talked to them, it was Cardano and Hedera that they were just raving about. And so I was like curious. And so I got into it, started buying, crypto, got into Coinbase, got into, the typical American on-ramp of Coinbase, and went through that and kind of found my way into the Cardano ecosystem and started dealing with native tokens and kind of developing through, DeFi and the all the different metas that we've seen over the last few years. And so that's been something that I've just been working through just like anybody else, from the normie world, trying to figure out what crypto really is, what's its potential to Main Street, what's its potential to the mainstream of business in general. And that's where my fascination lies is how do we bring this in a realistic, tangible way to everybody.
Yeah. Absolutely. I feel like lately I've been interviewing a lot of developers on the tech side. And one of the things that I've brought up and that has come up is like the issue with crypto and Web3 right now is hiding the wires, right? There are too many barriers to entry as far as onboarding people from the outside. It is a large learning curve in order to learn about mnemonic seed phrases, how to manage different wallets, how to connect different wallets with each other, safe ways to interact with decentralized applications. So there's a whole lot of I guess, things in the way for people that are outside of this world right now. But I'm fascinated with subscribe.io because I feel like what you guys are doing is creating a branding and marketing tool that has a place in the Web3 world. So your customers could be primarily Web 2, or they could be Web 3 and then be able to use that Web 3 customization and utility, adding additional ways to interact with their customer base. How do you feel about it? What are you the most excited about with what you guys are doing? And how do you feel like all of that overlaps there?
So I'm really excited about one of the things that I've been focusing my interests on is real world assets. How do we look at real world assets as two different types of asset, right? So we have assets that are like gold and silver and things that are able to be like commoditized now or fractionalized or whatever. And so you kind of have this going from a real world asset to a fractionalized asset. So that's one thing that I think, CSwap is doing really, really well, pushing the narrative on. And I think that that's really interesting. And so what the direction that Subscribe's coming from and the way that we're trying to direct traffic is from the other direction. So more consumer apparel, consumer products, things that are brand or community related. So, for example, a community that it's building its community base, it has a lot of followers, it has a lot of subscribers. Um, how do you maintain interest? How do you reward your community? How do you keep them engaged? How do you provide them tools so that they can also succeed but enjoy themselves as they do? And so I think the concept that Subscribe brings to the table is allowing for that merch and the community driven gear to have an extra layer. And so all of our gear that we're not all of our gear, we have some gear that doesn't include this, but most of our gear, our beanies, our hoodies, our hats, our t-shirts, our sweaters, our rings, they all have NFC chip technology inside of them. And so what that allows, we've all seen that it's to some degree, but most of what we've seen is the public side of that. So where you have essentially like a digital business card, you walk around, you tap it on a phone, it brings up this URL, boom, you've got this thing, and we see that a lot. It's very similar to QR codes. But what we're doing differently is we're allowing for that NFC chip to have a second and third layer. So that second layer is an authentication layer. And so once you get into that authentication layer, only people that tap the product with their phone can see that. So for example, if I copy that link and email it to you, you can't see it because you're not proximal to the actual product, right? So you have to actually be the one tapping the product to see that, access that information, which allows us to be very specific about who we prove ownership of these products with. So that becomes the second and third layer. So once you can validate ownership with that initial NFT proof of purchase, like almost like a POAP, but not a proof of attendance, more of a proof of purchase concept. Once you do that, it allows you to open that third level. And so this is why we call these public and private chips. And so we've developed an application that allows communities to they can either lease this application from us for annual subscriptions, or they can partner with us to work through some of those concepts and build it out for them. So it's essentially an authenticated landing page builder to bring the public back to the community. So back into the folds of that network. So if you're out and you're trying to spread the good word about your community, it allows you to bring those people in. And so it also allows the community to give back. We're working through a bunch of token drop economic or I guess like acrobatics right now, trying to get a few of the communities that we're working with to be able to have that capacity to drop NFTs, to drop tokens and all of that stuff, to give back to their community, keep them engaged, keep them excited about what they're doing.
Gotcha. It's very interesting. So my question with that is, so if I have my personal wallet, right, and somebody on the other side, or somebody a part of my community wants to drop myself and everybody in my community an NFT or a token, how does that work? Does it go directly to a wallet that might be already integrated into the actual product that I then have access to because I bought it? Or do I register onto the website with my wallet and then it just goes straight to my wallet? You know what I mean?
Right. So essentially, every product becomes serialized, and every product that is serialized has an authentication process. And so when you're registering your user base, your username, your wallet, however you do it, whether it's with an email or with a wallet connection, whenever you connect that wallet to that product, it allows you to basically link the serial number of that product to your personal wallet. So it's a proof of ownership. That wallet now owns that product. So, we have some examples, like some of the beanies that we have. When you scan the NFC chip in the actual embroidery, so this is like fully embroidered chip. Whenever that is scanned, it brings up a serial page for that product, that single 1 of 30 product, 9 of 30 product. It's not going to be, it's just like how you're familiar with NFT projects, right? So the NFT project has the serialized varying components. And so this 1 of 30 collection has different traits. So you can have different, like the 1 of 30 beanie for the Ape Society it just launched on our website. That beanie is a limited edition. There's only 30 of them. So the 30 members that buy those beanies and register their wallet with that beanie through our app allows us to track that person's progression. So we can stay in touch with them. We can continue to drop them benefits. We can continue to give them access to things early. We're leveraging this for a lot of different communities, whether it's bands, local bands that want to keep their community strong for their groupies, the people that come to every show, the people that buy their merch, people that wear it around town. They want to give them benefits. We've worked with video game influencers. We've worked with disaster relief groups that want to, we're testing a procedure right now where they're actually going to be in Istanbul doing some disaster relief training, and they wanted this to be a way of keeping track with all of their volunteers. They have volunteers all over the place. We can geofence where they go. So we can say, okay, we've got 150 volunteers here, 150 volunteers here, and track the location of these people based on the individuality of their mobile wallet. So it allows us to, do a lot of different things for a lot of different groups. There's a lot of different ways to gamify this, or to add in features that from the outside and connect it back to the product. So we've got a limited edition beanie, so a hoodie, so fashion, right? So you can have digital fashion, and it allows it to blend the lines between the physical and the digital concepts of NFTs. As people in this space, we're very familiar with NFTs and the way that we kind of hierarchically structure those. So we're kind of trying to play that back into the physical world too in some of these instances, and say, is there built-in rarity based on what people buy? So it's a very interesting. We're coming up and finding new things every day. So it's been a lot of fun.
That's very interesting. That's definitely an interesting way of going about it. Because when I think of like rarity, when I think of like collectors, right? There are a lot of collectors in the regular world as well that collect physical items. So now you've kind of added that collector like product hunting mechanism into like fashionable items and things that you can actually wear. So real life, like you said, phygital goods. Um, that's fantastic. Have you ever heard of there is a group called So Liddy Records? Are you familiar with them?
No.
So they are an NFT. Well, they're a community, basically a decentralized recording studio, collective of a bunch of people. And I have an interview that I did with some of them, but I think that something like that would be interesting for them to use because they have a whole lot of artists. They have in real life events, and through connecting with their community in this way, it can one be a way that they can have a product that's physical and give it to people in their community. But then at the same time, that could be a way that, you know, some people get dropped like a concert ticket, right? Or access
Exactly.
to a venue. And then so
Right.
that's kind of how I see this being a way to get brands and companies to stay in contact and to keep engaged their community, like you were saying. I really
Right.
like that.
You can also do private messages. So like the back end of the product is is dynamic. So we can evolve that and change it. So we can add buttons to exterior, like a relink to exterior URLs. We can embed videos. We can do a ton of different acrobatics within the landing page function itself. You can add multiple pages. You can token gate multiple aspects of the pages based on a token or based on the authenticity of the product. So there's a bunch of different things you can do. It's just a very flexible platform right now. And so the biggest thing that the the biggest hurdles that we're trying to overcome is like keeping up with the creativity of the creators. Like what one person wants to do is drastically different than what the other person wants to do. And so we're making, okay, let's make this happen this way. Let's make this happen this way. And it's very it's happening, and it's very interesting. So that is probably my favorite part of this, is like trying to keep up with some of the brilliant people that I've come across in this space.
So that's probably like one of the most complicated parts. Like as a business and being a business owner, if somebody's going to order 1,000 shirts, it's really easy to make 1,000 of the same shirt at a price that is affordable. But then when you're talking about keeping up with the creators, if you have 100 creators and each one wants a different thing, to be able to give them the price that makes sense as opposed to like custom one of ones, which is essentially what they're asking for. Um, that I could see that being definitely a challenge, especially as we get into the bull market. So, what systems
Right.
and stuff do you have in place to try to tackle that?
So we actually built a custom app that allows us to leverage databases and database models to link serial numbers to tag IDs, and to kind of maintain the integrity of a serialized product, but also allow it to be easily editable. So there's it has a search mechanism inside the app, so you can identify a specific NFT. You can search by a specific holder. You can search by a Discord handle. You can search like all of your holders by a certain thing. So, like if you wanted to do targeted giveaways, you can do that. If you wanted to do randomized giveaways, you can leverage some other randomized apps, but you have a database to export to leverage that, so that you can, because I know a lot of times in these communities we're trying to be transparent and try to be as open and honest as we can be about, free rolls or like these giveaways and how these drops work. So I think that it allows you to harvest the data, right? And so putting in data, pulling out data, asking your community for additional data. So one of the things we're testing right now is like whenever you first um, send out your product and you're really just trying to introduce yourself to your community, what can you do to harvest more data from them that's pertinent to them? For example, what's your shirt size? You ordered a hoodie, but what's your shirt size? What size would you want for shoes? Like if we come up with a shoe drop, what size shoe would you want us to send you? Like if there's something that we drop, watches, rings, hat sizes, all of these different data points to where we can say, look, if we have something like this, I mean, it's totally optional. Like if you don't want to give out that data, just leave it blank. But if you want us to be able to drop you something, like, and it'd be a surprise and be able to like send it to the address that you've registered this product to, we can just send you physical products. If you want to register your ETH or your Cardano or your, whatever address, wallet address, you can register that wallet address and we can airdrop you tokens, or we can airdrop you NFTs for your community, and give you access to things early. We can give you specific or early instructions, early information about, or just, behind the scenes information, depending on what the group is, right? So we've seen one-on-one, like close community live streams where people send out a link to their close-knit community where they can do a live stream of something. That was with one of our gaming groups. And then we've also seen behind the scenes footage that was dropped early. It was initially dropped. I mean, it was dropped to everybody in the band's group, but initially they did it early, like a week early, to their followers. So we're testing out a lot of these different concepts, and there's actually some very, very interesting big ones that we're working through right now as proof of concepts for other contracts. But it's been really amazing to kind of see how this thing is kind of unfolded. And we're looking for community partners. I mean, we're looking for people that want to test stuff. We're looking for people who want to get creative, but also want a source of merch. One of the things I always try to do is like listen to the community and what their issues are. And so one of the big issues that started this was people said, we want merch, but we don't want to have it in our living rooms. We don't want to have,
Mm-hmm. The production
we don't want to
part.
have, we don't want to have 1,000 t-shirts in our living room that we sell one by one. And then I have to get rid of those before I can get hoodies, because I don't have room for the hoodies now because I have 1,000 t-shirts in my living room. And so one of the things that, we try to provide is, through our partners and affiliates program, allow you to design and conceptualize your own products, put them on our website. But then whenever you're leveraging those to market those, you have the ability to be the main product. I mean, the main beneficiary of those sales, because we can, based on our negotiations of what that product actually is and profit margins, we can say, here's a fair percentage for you to take off the top. And this will work for us. This will work for you. And so we're trying to get creative with allowing community members to say, hey, I want to do this, but I don't want to, jump through all the hoops to have to do it. We'll lean on our expertise, lean on our warehouses, lean on our fulfillment centers, and really get those things out. And so the other thing that we've really heard from people is that they want there to be value in their NFTs. They want there to be a reason why NFTs are really used on Main Street versus just speculation or just, PFP or whatever, like, function. We're starting to see a lot of great communities come up with different concepts for how to actually use NFTs. And so that's where this started a year ago, is we want to provide a functional reason for NFTs.
One of the things that comes to my mind is, are you familiar with the Red Wings shoe brand? Red Wings shoes?
Yes.
Their boots.
Yes.
So like I kind of am super fascinated with their model. This is something that I've actually discussed with my wife about potentially getting into something like this, because pretty much you buy a pair of their shoes, and they're very expensive shoes. They're not cheap by any means. But once you buy it, then they will repair it. They will fix them for you forever, right? So it's kind of like a
Right.
lifetime warranty, sort of like Patagonia's, right? Patagonia jackets are more expensive, but they have that same kind of thing, that the quality is guaranteed perpetually. And that's also a use case that I see for NFTs with these kinds of things, right? Like high-end luxury goods. you have that serialized NFT that proves that you're the owner. Only you can own it. And then for things like that, like you know, you just go back and be like, hey, I'm the owner, this broke, or I I burned a hole through it or whatever, and then they're like, yeah, we got you, no problem. Just because that be a business model, I think is interesting. um,
Right.
Another one is just like being able to know where the product was made, right? Like some people are very
Right.
excited about supply chain um, type things, and want
For
to
sure.
know that the things that they're using are ethically sourced or recyclable or like all this stuff. And so that's another use case, I think, to be able to sell, or to be able to tell the story of the product, right, directly
Right.
from the product, which is exciting. One of the questions that I have is, outside of this direct market, right? Things relating behind merchandise and branding in the blockchain and crypto Web3 space, what are some of the things that you were the most excited about? And like what projects and platforms and things do you think are kind of like very early, but have a lot of promise in the future?
For sure. So I think there's a couple of different things. I think when it comes to, I mentioned Cardano earlier. Whenever it comes to Cardano, I think it's a very, very amazing base platform that I think, you know, we're getting really, really, really close to something amazing. We just haven't broken through there yet. And I think that the biggest hurdle there is technology and finding people that can build on it. I tried to build this platform on Cardano for the better part of 8 months, and I could not, you know, all of the developers that I was referred to, all the people that came recommended were booked out 6 months, and or
Yeah.
developing their own products, and there's just not a glut of developers that can work in this realm yet. And so I think bridging that gap, I think, is going to be huge. But on the flip side, where I was able to get this built was on an EVM chain, and so we're leveraging base NFTs and base tokens to get a lot of this stuff done. And so base, as a new platform, I think has a ton of potential. I mean, for obvious reasons, it's part of the Coinbase ecosystem.
Ecosystem.
Um, yeah, it's slightly different than your centralized exchange, but it's still a fascinating community of developers. I mean, if you are active on Farcaster or any of the apps that are base related, you'll see some true development that goes beyond what we see typically. Like Farcaster blew my mind. And, trying to figure out how to leverage um, that's a great example of how they're leveraging social media and base NFTs and base tokens. So I think that that's going to be something to watch. I think that's uh, a huge space that a lot of people haven't found yet. I just happened to find it because of some transitions that were happening in the Cardano ecosystem. And so I think it's just a really interesting time on the base ecosystem. But there's so many. I'm curious to see what happens with Midnight. I think that that's going to be amazing. I think there's a lot of development. I think Hedera has some really amazing tech that is going to be worth following and seeing. And beyond that, I think that there's just it's a race right now to see who's going to win, because there's just so many things. So I really don't. Um, I try not to pick favorites. I try to spread it around and try to get everybody to work together. It's us against the world still. And the world's finally
Yeah.
starting to catch up, but they have no idea what's going on, and so we all still need to work together and make this happen.
100%. I'm really excited as well about the Midnight side. I think that there are going to be some really interesting things that come out of there. And one of the biggest things is that basically, as a framework that people can use in order to develop things, it will have a coding language that is much more accessible as far as developers. And I think that'll bring a large onslaught of new development and new developers, but also open up some of the technological benefits of something like Cardano, and then some of the with the partner chain framework, they'll be able to use basically like the good qualities of other chains that specifically work for whatever their use case is or whatever they're building. So that's going to be massive with the privacy added. I think that'll be
I
really
totally agree. Yeah, there was early on with the development of this application, there were some conversations about privacy and how to maintain, like, how do we there, because there's some other functions that we're trying to accomplish with this app that are still on the roadmap that I think Midnight's going to be amazing for. And so there's some things that we're looking for privacy wise that we want to integrate. Um, so as far as the public private side of what we're currently doing, there's still a lot of private capability. There's a lot of infrastructure that we can do, but I think Midnight's going to open up a few things that we're working on conceptually that could potentially be game changers. We're working through a technology for. I'll just go ahead and say it. We're working through a concept for like voter IDs and how to leverage like what the physical infrastructure would look like to if Charles said, "Hey, I need this many voter IDs, this is going to be a government or state run product and we need this many things. What does that look like?" And so that's a product that we're working through right now, but I think Midnight's going to have a huge impact on that. So I'm excited to see how we can plug into that.
That's fantastic. One thing that I'm going to give you, or a group that you should reach out to and check into, is Identis. Identis is very interesting. They're a group that's been working on that for a while, and I think that they've made a lot of strides in that direction as far as like IDs, decentralized IDs. Definitely check them out. The people are cool. The community's crazy, in a good way. Genius, wicked smart. But so two of the questions that I ask everybody these are some of my favorite questions to ask is, if you could go anywhere and someone else is paying the tab, and you can go to multiple different places for different part of the meal, what is it that you're eating? And paint a picture with words of what that is, where you are, what that experience is like, and like, what are you drinking, man?
Okay, so I would probably, and this is only because of this one meal, but I would probably go to Rome and I'd be sitting outside of the Pantheon. There's this, I don't know the current name of this restaurant, but there's a restaurant that's right there on the plaza, and they have amazing like bistecca, like, steak, and there's some amazing food. But the last time I was there, I got to watch the USA play Italy in the World Cup. And so if I got to go anywhere and anybody had to pay the tab, I would go back there and go during the World Cup so that, I could see that experience again, because it was incredible, because they were playing and Italy was just going nuts. And so we were the lone USA people. So that's probably what I would do. I would go back and do that.
That's awesome. And I love that. Yeah, Rome is beautiful. Food there is amazing. Excellent choice there. And then if you're going to sit down and you're going to watch a movie or a show or something, what are the characteristics or things that you look for in that? Like, what genre do you typically gravitate towards? Like, I feel like everybody has like some criteria. They like scan through and then they see a couple of things and then they pick that. So what is that for you? What do you look
So that's interesting. So when it comes to like scanning through TV, I don't necessarily scan through TV to like pick a show, but whenever I find a show, I'm looking for like an interesting plot. Like it's got to have a creative twist on a plot, something that I didn't see coming. I so in architecture school, we read a lot of books on literary theory and trying to leverage words to paint a picture, kind of like you're asking. And so in the process of reading a lot of these books, writing for TV shows has become increasingly difficult to stand because a lot of it's recycled, a lot of it's,
Yeah.
kind of similar stuff. So whenever I'm looking for a TV show that to get me sucked into, it's usually a show that has something very, very creative within the first episode. Then I'm hooked.
So I've got two for you. Also, I want to say, yeah, painting a picture with words. Shout out to Carver de Medici.
Yeah.
I had him on a while back ago, and he had this incredibly wonderful depiction of ropa vieja. It's like a Hispanic meat, a dish in particular, and it was just fantastic. But I want to say two recommendations that I give is I don't know if you've seen these, so if you have, let me know. But one of them is Inside Man on Netflix.
Okay.
It is a murder mystery one, right? Kind of
Okay.
like a Sherlock Holmes type deal, but the detective, the one that solves everything, is in jail and he doesn't leave.
Oh,
And like
interesting.
he's inside. Yeah. It's one of my favorites. I think they're only like 4 episodes, but like I ran through all 4 of those episodes, then was really disappointed that there were only 4. Every single one of them is absolutely amazing. It has all of that. And then I'll say the other one, I tend to like really dark things that are weird. It's kind of like the darker and the weirder, the more like psychological is my favorite. But 1988 on
Okay.
Netflix as well. That's also a super good one. It it's just very strange. I don't know if you've seen Dark. Dark is one that was really popular for a little while there, but it has that a similar kind of like ominous, like you're figuring it out the whole time, and then by the time you get at the end of it, it's like mind blowing. So
Interesting.
those are
Okay.
my two: 1988 and Inside Man. But that's
I'll
fantastic.
check those out.
It has been a
Yeah, that's
absolute pleasure
amazing.
talking to you today. What are your like final thoughts or things that you want to convey to everybody that's watching this, and anybody that is watching this? Please, of course, like, subscribe, make sure to follow Bowjang, and I'm going to have all of the information, all the links in the description. Um, so definitely follow up and check out what he's got going on. But yeah, what would be your final thoughts, things you'd
Well,
want to leave people with?
so yeah, so let me see if I can show something real quick. I want to give an example of
Oh
kind
yeah.
of what we're doing here. So this is our site, and so we are in the process of up. Well, yeah, so this is the updated site. So we have, customization options for a lot of different products. So because we're a small team, we have the ability to, do custom acrylic signs. This is like, of course, Levy sign, custom coffee mugs, custom tote bags. Um, the custom hats, we have limitations on those, but we can do small quantities. So the MOQ is very small. All of this stuff we do in house. We have this is kind of our public chip. So we have like t-shirts where you can just buy the blank t-shirt from us and do your own screen printing. But we can also do limited edition products. So this is a custom design that we did in house, and we did a custom one of 100 for the Ape Society, and allow that to be just a really easy thing that we can do. So, for example, like we have a token and a NFT that's going to be coming out soon, but we're allowing those to be part of the ecosystem for our NFTs. So, part of the reward system. So, whenever you buy a product from us that has an NFT related connection, these things will be part of the benefits of getting that. So, it will be an NFT that's tradable. It will be a token that is tradable. So all of these things can be airdropped to your product, to your wallet, as you become an owner of an NFT product. Um, but one of the things I think that's really, really special about what we have is the affiliates page. And so this is something that I would encourage people that are watching this video. If you want to make a little bit extra money, sign up for an affiliates link. It's a very easy process. It takes you like literally 2 minutes. It'll create an account for you, where if you're a social media influencer and you want to sell, whether it's some of the products we already have made or a product of your own, sign up there. It's really, really easy, and it'll allow you to make some extra cash. So I think that's it from us, but we're really excited. We've got a lot of stuff going on.
No, this looks amazing. I mean, what you've put together here is amazing. I'm excited about the affiliates thing. That's definitely something I want to have a conversation about in the future, as we are, ramping up to the peak of attention in this
Yeah,
space. And so
100%. Yeah.
definitely appreciate you sharing this with us. Everybody, like I said, make sure to check them out, follow all the socials, and thank you for joining me today. I appreciate you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having me on. And yeah, we're excited. So,
Would love.
creators, I was just going to say, creators that, if you're a graphic designer or web designer, um, link up with me, because we need as much help as we can get. We've been inundated with orders lately about different products and different projects. So, if anything, we're developing a team, so we need resumes. So if you're interested, hit us up on Discord or Twitter, and we'll get in touch.
That's fantastic. So everybody, reach out to him. Thank you so much for joining us, and I'd love to have you back if you all have any upgrade or updates or announcements, so that way we can get that message out. And appreciate you so much for joining us today, and we'll see you on the next one, man.
All right, absolutely. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, man.